Oh, that's it. Hello, everyone. So I think that many things happened this week, but I'm interested to know about schemata first, because I've been working on some tickets or some issues that are regarding schemata, and I would like to know how advanced are the changes that you proposed for the OpenAPI requirements. That you're muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the changes that for schemata weren't very big. Basically, for the REST OpenAPI stuff, I needed the ability to make the schema for the node, sort of the generic node, which is like just the base fields of the node. So I could have done it without it, but basically, in REST, we're documenting node/node ID, which obviously we don't know what it's going to return as far as which bundle. So your feedback on the test was good. I just haven't got around to updating that. And the idea that, I want to contact, I guess Adam is his name, and see if I can become co-maintainer, because I don't actually know what he uses schemata for. I mean, it's a great module, but I don't know how much he's invested as far as like what else, like, is he using it for something that he needs to keep up with it? So if I could become co-maintainer, that would be good, because I think with OpenAPI or other stuff, it'll probably be useful to. I mean, hopefully we won't need that many more changes. But yeah, it's a pretty simple change. There's another issue that makes it work with 8.4, which I've applied, but I haven't really looked at that much. So those are the only two issues that I know about it. I think it would be good to see if that 8.4 issue made it. I don't know if it. I haven't looked at it to see if it just makes it compatible with 8.4 or if it lets it be compatible with both. Which I thought was kind of interesting as far as a REST backwards compatibility issue that it had to update. Of course, schemata is a pretty unique module, so I don't know if other ones, but I forget what the issue was. It was like relying on the REST service link manager service, and now it's moved to another module, so it's reliant on a issue that wasn't there. Or a service that wasn't there. Yep. So that's what I know about schemata. Was that your question?
Yeah, more or less. I've been having that problem that you were mentioning about 8.4. I think it's that the service was moved from REST to HAL, and there is no kind of proxy server. So schemata was using that service without having a dependency on the module. So that is the problem.
Yeah, I thought we added something like to check to see if a module was enabled that would need it, and then we added a backwards compatibility layer, but it was only like a core check. I'm not sure if Wham would remember. I'm looking at it now, but
I think that Wim's having audio issues.
Okay,
we promise we're not just ignoring you.
So I'm looking at the service manager for REST service provider. Says it checks if HAL is enabled, and then it makes the REST link manager deprecated in 8.3. Yeah, so it makes a REST link manager if HAL is enabled, and which is just a duplicate of the HAL link manager. I'm not really sure. But I don't know if we should just always be doing that. And if this changes in 8.4, I don't know if that's something that we could still change. Are you back, Wim? But still, mic issues. Yeah. The only reason you could have had it in lesson 8.3 is to use the link manager service if you're using how module, because those link manager services are only ever used by the how format. So
yeah, that's what we talked during TripleCon. I don't think that any other, or well, I know, maybe that is not true. Maybe there are some other modules that need to know about the how format or introspect things about the how format without having the how module turned on. At the moment, the fix is just enable how, which is not ideal, but
yeah, I mean, or the schema. Yeah. Oh, you meaning then the schemata module would work? Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we had different submodules for schemata, which Adam had, and I said let's not.
Yeah.
But if we had that, then it would only be a problem if you wanted to use it for how. But
Well,
now
actually, I
everything's in
mean,
a single bucket.
I don't remember how the schemata module provides its service, but potentially if it's a service provider, it could conditionally check to see if how was enabled, and if how was enabled, then make the dependency on the link manager. Otherwise, it doesn't need the link manager if it's not because obviously if how is not enabled, then it's not going to be checking the how format or introspecting the how format. So
yeah, I think that's a good solution. I think that's what Wim is also suggesting in the chat. All right. So I was going to ask for an update on REST, core REST, but since I don't know sign language and I probably cannot read lips in video conference. So
I think Wim is like writing it down.
Please tell me that you're going to show it to webcam. And it's going to show backwards somehow.
Yeah, I personally haven't looked at REST issues last week, so yeah, I couldn't update on that. Oh, what? Can anybody else see it? Some reason it won't. Oh,
timestamps. That's true.
Oh
yes.
yeah, timestamps get in. Yeah.
Yeah, those get normalized in a format that you would expect. I haven't tested that in the JSON API module, but for REST, that will be a big improvement, I think. Not sure how cross-compatible, like if you are denormalizing, if it will accept any timestamp format or not. But oh, nice. Automatically, it applies to JSON API and intercepts any timestamp format. Nice. Thank you, Wim. You're like delivering every dream here from the silent. So that's great. I think that we needed that. Probably there was more advance in the comprehensive test coverage. Is that true? Yes. Okay. So moving forward, I mean, there were like 19 blockers to the comprehensive test coverage 2 weeks ago, and we may be at, I know I'm going to make this number, maybe 12.
So we're talking about comprehensive REST test coverage?
Yes, for core.
Okay, cool.
Sadly, I don't know the progress on making the type data. Actually, you may know this, Ted. Making type data aware of some other metadata for fields, things like you only can create this field, you cannot update it, and things like that. I think that we talked about this in the past.
So there is that read-only property. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, it's a subset of read-only, right? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I am not remembering. Like, do you have an example of a field that falls under that?
I like the created timestamp.
Okay. Yeah.
That one you cannot.
Right. So currently we don't have this kind of metadata. We just have access checking.
Yeah. No. Wim, actually, I think he's referring to something else. Like the idea that it's read only in the sense that, but you can never create it, right? Even when you're posting, or you can when you're posting, not patching. I'm going to refresh as well. Sorry, I forgot the person who's new this week. It's not always this bad.
Sorry, I promise I'm not trolling. But when the battery dies in this, then I need to refresh. I know this is Hangouts. So yeah, you can actually post the timestamp. I was posting it the other day. And I was surprised that you can post a particular timestamp on the create field. But
you can't patch it?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
So there is that, and there was also a similar thing. I lost all the back scroll, but I think that Wim was referring to this, about the computed sub-properties like the processed field, the processed.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So allow field types. Let me see. Allow complex data. Yeah. So I don't remember last time on the call if it was a field type issue or if it was. I'm posting this in chat. But now we've switched to a complex data issue. So basically, any complex data in their properties, they can. Like you can say set computed, you can also set exposed, which I don't know if we're set on that name yet, but the idea on an exposed to property would be something that that if you were to get the fields regularly, or the properties regularly, say if you're just looping over with the for each of the properties, this property would not be exposed, but when you're normalizing, it would be. So in core REST, we're thinking we would need this for stuff like public image styles URLs and then process texts. And there was something yeah, so I don't know if I talked about this on this call, but at the very end of the issue where we are now, I was running into some weird issues where I was assuming that, say you have the complex data normalizer and it says that it supports the class or the interface, complex data interface. So I was assuming that anything that went to the normalize method, anything that went to its normalize method, the object that being normalized would implement complex data interface, which is not true because the entity normalizer extends that normalizer, and does not override the normalize method. But it does not, its supported class, entity interface, does not implement complex data interface. So I was talking to Lee Rowland online. He says that was because it was a leftover part where entities in the D8 cycle at one point did implement the complex data interface, but they don't now. But there is nothing. When you extend a normalizer, there's no rule or even, I guess, best practice to say the thing that if you extend a normalizer, it should also support a interface that extends the normalizer you're extending, which leads to weird cases where if you don't override a method, then the thing that goes to the parent method does not necessarily have any relation at all to the interface that this says it's supported. The only reason it was working before was because all that normalizer did was just loop over and for each the properties and then normalize them. So the only reason it worked is because entities also are implement array iterator or something like that, or transversable, I guess it is. So so I have a suggestion to basically, I was thinking, or we were talking on the issue, well, maybe we can just change entity normalizer to not extend it or to override the normalized method, and that would fix it. But then Matthew Radcliffe posted his experience as a contrib author, and he said that he's extending the complex data normalizer in the same way that entity normalizer is for things that don't extend the complex data interface, which basically means, just the one example we have means that would break their normalizers. So I think in my last comment, I think what would be the safest method would be, I'm going to post this comment. This is, I think, would be the safest method. Basically, in complex data normalizer, should add the new logic that handles these exposed traits, but we also should include the old logic as a backwards compatibility thing. Otherwise, other normalizers that extend complex data normalizer will immediately be broken.
I think that, yeah, I know where you're coming from, because we are kind of used to use the serialization component from Symfony in a way of normalizing and denormalizing based on object types. But that is not necessarily true always. That is some assumption that is baked into the base normalizer that we have in the serialization module, but it's not something that is absolutely needed in any case. It's some convenience that we did. Like, instead of just implementing supports normalization, just provide an entity that and then we have a base method there that's the supporting normalization. And sorry, I said entity, but I meant interface. And if the object that you're passing implements that interface, then we support normalization. But that doesn't need to be true. But yeah. It's confusing. I agree on that. So cool. I think we have 8 minutes left. I think that for JSON API, there is not much to report, apart from the module that Eugenie, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. The module that Eugenie posted, it's called JSON API files. It will allow you to serve as a stopgap between now and whenever we have something ready for core, either using media or using whatever other endpoint we come up with, to allow uploading files. So that's great. And there's even documentation, and you can use it now and provide feedback. Is there anything that you want to add regarding to that?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. It's quite simple. It's just it provides an ability to post a base 64 encoded files. As simple as that. There's nothing complicated there. Just a good temporary solution until we get good support files in core, probably through media.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you again about that, and thank you for all of the other issues that you're contributing on. So
I accept wine and beer. No, sorry, just no one.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. So for JSON API extras, just a quick mention that we are almost feature complete, which I want to cut an early alpha, when we are feature complete. which will give you full control on the shape of your API with compatibility with schemata, meaning that whatever you tweak with the UI, but the JSON API output, it's going to be reflected on the schema that you generate, which will be picked up by OpenAPI or DocSend or whoever is consuming that schema. So we are almost there. I think there's only one alpha blocker at this point. So yeah, don't use the module in production yet because there is no testing. And there are many tickets marked as needs test. I was grooming them today. So if you're wondering, how can I contribute to this? Well, there are several issues that are tagged as needs test in the JSON API extras issue queue. So please contribute with those. Also, there are a bunch of novice tasks which are regarding documentation. So if you've been just clicking around and working with JSON API, we need documentation, and we need to document the frustrations, I would say. And I don't think that there's anything else in JSON API land, besides the fact that there are almost 1,700 sites using it now. It's we made like a huge jump after DrupalCon, like a ridiculous jump of 600 sites in a week. Then we went slightly down, and then we are back again on after 1.0. That's fair. Which we tagged during DrupalCon week, and so that could explain the coupling of the two events. Sorry for everyone that's not reading. I'm just commenting on what Wim's typing because of the audio issues. Sorry, it's kind of weird. And the last thing before we get to the half-hour mark is about the distribution. So we stepping back from the mic. So we settled on a name. We settled on Contenta CMS. We have a Slack channel that we want you on. We've been using it not only to talk about the distribution, but to talk about API things there. It's not the means, the primary means of communication, but that's how it evolved, I guess. And the status is quite good. I made a YouTube video. I will share it privately with whoever wants to see it, on how you can just do one single command, it with having like nothing in your local machine, and it will download Drupal, put it together, install the needed configuration, and run a server, and then you can just start making requests. I think it's pretty cool, but I'm still making progress towards it. Right now, we are trying to nail down the content model, because we are going to be diverging a little bit from what the out-of-the-box experience initiative folks are doing, because they're kind of working on their content model for the use case, which cannot be exactly what we need for several reasons. And one of them is that we feel that media is kind of a must in this kind of stuff. Like one of the goals of the distribution is to show how great the content modeling tools in Drupal are, which are like light years away from whatever else that I've seen. And one big piece of that is media, and not being able to use media was kind of a setback for us. So that's why we are not going to be having the same exact configuration for the content model, but still we're going to be building the same features. Like instead of an image field, maybe we will have a media entity with an image bundle, that kind of thing. But the end result, we hope it's the same. I want to give Daniel a minute or two, or as many as he needs to add anything that I may have missed.
Sorry, I was deeply focused.
Now, I was saying, is there anything that you want to call out regarding the content CMS distribution?
I think it would be helpful to explain why we decided to go with media in contrib rather than media in core. And apparently, yeah, and it seems to be that media won't be stable in 8.4. At least I talked with Alex Pott about that, and he said, yeah, no. So given that we went with the contrib solution, personally, I have the hope that someone will come up with an update path from the contrib to the core version, because there are a lot of sites already using it. Yeah, it's not ideal. Beside of that, if anyone knows Elm and wants to help me with the Elm front end, I would be happy to get feedback and general help, because it's way over my head. But yeah, that's it.
Matteo, you're muted.
I didn't want to mute him. I muted him because of the feedback thing. Sorry. I love how it shows that people at Google aren't like gods or anything. It just makes us more like humans.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, with this silence, I think we could just say goodbye until next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks, Matteo.
Bye.
Bye.